like the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want to see my friends and family and coworkers in the cities that I grew up in or I love or I work in to get mowed over by this. You can either be leading it and getting out in front of it, or you can just hide your head in it. You're here, so that's a good start. But it starts with just little more steps. And wherever you're at today, what's that next goal for you? Like, what's that next thing that you can learn? And the one thing I want to leave with you is, this is a messy space, you guys. Do talk to your attorney, because you're going to find people, if you have that conversation with people on that front end about, let's say I've developed a piece of technology specialized in my specific area, and now all of a sudden, I'm saving the company hours upon hours, right? Doing the work of 3 or 4 people, that's mine. I created that, right? That's their perception. And when they go into your organization, that's going to be their framework. So you better get that adjusted, because there's going to be stars that come across your area. Go, that's amazing, right? But then if you're not forward with them, you're going to have a misalignment, and that's going to be a problem. So make sure you're doing that front-end homework with your attorney, because those employees need to know, and you need to be proactive in that to make sure that they're aware. That is not on, is it? You can't see anything. Well, that's not going to help you. How much time do I have, roughly? 20 minutes? Okay. So this is normally a 3-hour kind of presentation, you guys. So I got 20 minutes to make you geniuses, all right? So that's okay, though. I can make that happen. So quick poll here, you guys, right? You're in Cleveland. I actually worked on West 9th, my first job as a marketing analyst, okay? The first question I was asked, are you East Side or West Side? So how many East Siders are there? Okay, some of you are off my Christmas list already. West Siders, I assume the other, okay. You kind of even split there. Working knowledge. Now, I know that's working knowledge of certain things, so I need to gauge the audience here just a little bit. So I say working knowledge is going to mean different things to different people, right? But let's go ahead with ChatGPT. How many of us actually use it? Okay, or Google Gem, right, in some cases, or Claude projects, okay? Custom, keep your hands up, custom GPTs, you'll see them fall down. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Or a Gem? I'm feeling a little more positive. That's good, okay. What about automations? When I say make.com or Zapier or N8N, I love that. Okay. OpenClaw, it's been in the news. How many of you actually have used it? Wow, adventurous. Very good. Okay, so my goal, I have 2 goals. One is to make you guys superheroes. So some of you have already superheroes, which is great, so I applaud you there. But the other one is I want you to take away one thing, just one thing to implement, okay? And I've been in AI for quite some time too, 2020-ish, okay? All of our workflows at Content Engagement Lab have AI baked into them. And there's a reason, because of the efficiencies, right? But what I do actually want to be able to do is make sure that you take away something that's effective. Now, some of you have had drinks already, but I do have a form. If you want to make commitments, like I would like for you to actually commit to something, and I want to hear from you. So I do have a piece of paper up here, which you can pass around, or you can text me at the end or scan the QR tag. I want to see one action step, because what I'm going to give you today changed how I do things, and I am darn good at creating prompts. I am darn good at getting that access that I want, that stuff out, okay? But there's one critical piece that I learned last year, actually in Cleveland. How many of you know about MAICON? Paul Reitzer and Mike Kaput over at the AI Marketing Institute, SmarterX. Fantastic. They hold a conference, MAICON. It's coming up in October, by the way. Worth the money. Worth the money. If you're in business, write it down. Like, remember it. I'll send you the presentation. I'm recording the side of it. But seriously, register. It is a great way to just get a huge nugget of truth out of it. You're going to walk away with dozens of things that you can take away to your business, okay? So, the Lyft example. So, oil prices. How many people know that oil prices have increased and now decreased, right? So I did this really cool thing. So some of us are used to just going up to the gas pump and just not paying attention to it, right? Well, how many of you use your chat GPT to find questions like, I know nothing about that oil production stuff, nothing. So I went to Gemini and I just said, okay, tell me about what this is, because I see this agreement going on and I see gas prices decreasing. What's the timeline between when it comes out of the ground to when it goes in your tank? I had no idea, no idea. It turns out it was like 30 to 45 days, okay? And I told it to break down the stuff in terms of actual timelines. Fantastic, okay? I took that response from Google Gemini, okay, just that normal situation, and then I built a custom gem with a research mind approach to it, okay? An accuracy tool. And what I did is I ran the same prompt through, and then I took the prompt that I got in generic chat GPT in this case, or in this case it was Google, right, the Gemini, versus the actual bot that I created and just trained a little bit on accuracy. And I asked Gemini to score it, to compare those two things on accuracy. Guess what it gave the one that I didn't create the gem for? It gave it an 8 out of 10 for accuracy. Not bad. Guess what it gave the one that I trained, just a little bit of training, the Google Gem, a little bit of framework, 9.5 out of 10. That's a B, low B, to a mid A in accuracy. Didn't take any more time. Guys, what I'm gonna tell you today is pretty important, pretty cool stuff. So I want you to prompt like a pro at the end of this. We talk about recruiting. There's a Kent State student, maybe 2 in here, okay? They are going to have an incredibly hard time finding jobs. Right now, that's 13% of the jobs they estimate. Here you go. 13% of the jobs that they estimate that were available last year at this time are no longer available. They're being replaced by AI. I think that's way low. I think it's about 25%, maybe even more than that, okay? You talk about recruiting. If you are not using the words AI fluency, if that's not coming up in your job or people you're hiring, you might want to assess that a little bit, because they're going to have to be aware is how the technology is, whether or not they're using Copilot or a custom GPT or a special SaaS application, they're going to need to be fluent in this thing. So ask them what they've built, what they've done with it, okay, independently, okay? Really, really, really important. 3-part series. So yeah, we're going to fly through that one. Exact methods, blah, blah, blah. Prompt like a pro, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here's the key insight. How many of you are just literally just open up Chat GPT or Gemini right now and you just asked it the question? How many? No one else even does it? Okay, so, right. You're not in unfamiliar ground, right? Here's a mental shift for you. Pretend that you have the best, most intelligent, highly trained, scientist mind-oriented individual that is working for you. Some of us are really good managers. We can put this in I can give a project to somebody, right? And they can go ahead and I can give them all the context and the information necessary, and they're going to do a bang-up job of it. But they know nothing about the project or your business yet. That's how you have to look at this chatbot individual, right? This gem, whatever it is. You have to think about them as this amazingly brilliant individual, but has no context whatsoever. Now, your job is to fill that mind with that context in order to get some really amazing things out of it, okay? That is not a mistake. That is Claude adjusting my presentation today. This is why you have to check your work. I left it that way, by the way. The photo is upside down of me, in case you hadn't noticed. You want to make sure that you're checking your work, okay? Because Claude and all these guys do make mistakes. By the way, this book, An AI-Driven Leader, is where I'm suggesting where I got the crit model from last year. And it is amazing. Jeff Woods wrote the book, The AI-Driven Leader. I would recommend that you read it. It's fantastic. But here's the game changer. So crit stands for, it's a framework. When you're prompting a bot, when you're prompting ChatGPT or Google Gemini, it's a framework. It's only 4 pieces. Crit, C-R-I-T. Crit, context. All the stuff that's important right? Oh, and by the way, for you chat GPT users who get frustrated when you hit the enter button and you haven't finished your prompt, hold down the shift key, by the way, just to let you know, okay? And then you can hit enter. Or you can write your prompts outside of that. But so context is all this stuff that you need this thing to consider. R stands for roles. This is, you are a brilliant-minded researcher. You are often asked to speak at events because of your data analysis and ability. You've gone to these schools, you've done that. Think character development in school, right? Give this person, this bot, a persona. That's the roles, that's R. I am gonna save for just a second. T is the task. I want you to do this, and this is the output that I want you to do it with, okay? I want it to look like. This I is the most amazing thing. This is the key, guys, to you not getting replaced in your job. Let me say it one more time. This is the key to you not getting replaced in your job. Because all of us think we have a unique opportunity, but if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Great, I'm gonna be up ahead because I've thought about this. This is the I of this. It's called the interview. Interview. And it's the same part of the prompt every single time. You can ask me 3 questions, only one at a time, to improve the output of this task. What did that just do? That question is going to prompt the bot to ask you a question back. Based on your context, roles, and tasks, it's going to ask you some things to think about. The neat thing about that is it's taking your unique design, your God-given talent, skills, education, and it's now challenging you to think and provide information back to it. That's how you don't get replaced by AI, because it doesn't know what your current mental state is and your background experience of what you've read. It's probably stuff you should have put in the context, but you may have forgotten to do that. I'm going to challenge you. Every single time you think you've got a strategy discussion, or you think you know your business so well, go ahead and follow that CRIT framework. I use it quite a bit, but that interview will knock your socks off. And it'll ask you 3 questions. And you may have to hem it in a little bit. It may get a little advantage and go, oh, you'll start asking all 3 at one time. And you're like, no, one at a time, sorry. Go back and just answer it. So it is such a good tool to use. I'll give you one quick business example just to get you kind of in the mindset, and then I'm going to show you one of mine that I used this morning here. So if I could read my own thing. Okay, so this one here is business. I run a local landscaping company. We're hiring summer staff, but struggling to get applicants. The role, okay, so again, ChatGPT users, if you either you hold down that shift key and you can get a line break, which is nice. Role, act as an expert HR recruiter or copywriter who specializes in blue-collar hiring. Interview, you can ask me 4 questions, one at a time, right? You get the idea about the job, pay, and culture. Don't write the past. Don't write the post until you have your answers. Task, write a high-converting Facebook job ad that attracts reliable applicants. This is just that framework kind of there. You can go way, way, way more complicated. I tried to do a little bit of research this morning on all the panelists. Let's see if I can actually pull this up for you. And it did an amazing job, right? So my context, you can't read that. It's probably, oh, you can't read anything. Oh my gosh. All right, so it's not a screen share, okay. But basically I've got a big amount of context. I basically told it where I was, who I was doing with. I've got the link to the site. I've got actually the agenda. I've got also my presentation. I gave it the role of a researcher. I talked about the interview, and I've got the task. And I've got these in big content blocks. And it was able to give me profiles and connect not just the business side, but the human side, right, of a lot of this stuff. Because it could dig into LinkedIn. It could look at the company profiles. It could find other posts that you guys have shared out. You know, I'm amazed at the story. One of our panelists had back surgery, well, broke her back actually, right? This is like her thing. I would have never come across that. You talk about being more human. Yes, it could replace people, but use AI as a way to bubble this stuff up to the top so you can embrace relationships with people. Like I already feel like I kind of know her. I like to learn more about her background in terms of how she was able to overcome that, right? And her passions with that stuff. So it's really kind of neat. Even in the context, what I did do is I gave it not just to find information about them, but since it had information on the seminar here, it could make connections between people and as it related directly to our topic in a one-pager. What would have taken me hours of research took me 22 minutes to kind of write out that prompt, right? So I feel like I kind of feel like I know a lot of the panelists already and their background just on what they've shared, okay? Let's see, so I'm gonna go ahead, skip that one. We've covered. So this one here, guys, there's some things that you don't miss. If you're in business and you wanna know what AI is, like follow Mike and Paul at the Artificial Intelligence Show. They have a podcast that goes out every single Monday. It drops every Tuesday morning. It's like 45 minutes to an hour. Guys, they're top line. They get you into stuff where you are aware. You don't have to spend hours and hours doing this stuff. But the Artificial Intelligence Show, it's a no miss for anybody who's in business and wants to know AI. It's the least that you can do with your time. They do a fantastic job. And they're located right here actually in Cleveland, by the way. The other one is a little bit more technical. I wouldn't worry about that one. Okay. If you want these tips, you can scan it. It's going to be at the end. I'm also going to give you my tech stuff at the end. But I wanted to get into the custom GPTs and Google Gems. You guys can see this, hopefully. I know it's really small. All right, so I'm going to go, yeah, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and use Westmark as one. Going out of here. All right, so you're used to, how many of you created custom gems or chat GPTs? Okay, 18% of the room or so. Okay, so in chat GPT, if you have to, by the way, how many of you are on free programs of chat GPT? Okay, so don't do that. Spend the $20, okay? One, you're not getting the best models, first of all. But the other one, too, you have more permissions and stuff like that, plus the functions where you can actually build your custom GPTs and stuff like that. It's worth it, totally, okay? And Gemini is the same thing. It's worth spending the money for that. So up in that top left, you can go to GPTs and you can see one, and then there's a Create GPT. Go ahead and do it. It's so easy. It sounds like you're creating a bot. It's so complicated. No, it's not, okay? When you click Create Your Own Custom GPT or Gem, it works the same way. In fact, they even have the same fields of data, okay? It'll ask you for the name, doesn't really matter. It'll ask you for a description and instructions and then resources. Guys, this could be anything. Like, I'm not a tax person, okay? Use HR Block all the time. But I was always confused when I filled this stuff out and I map everything out, why certain numbers would change and they wouldn't show up, or they would just impact, whether I was paying or getting money back. And I was like, I'm not sure how that works. I built, using something like this, a Google Gem, basically told it my business, told it how our employee structure, gave it our P&L, gave it access, uploaded access to our credit cards and bank statements, and it helped me with my taxes. A normal 22-hour job took literally 3 hours. And by the way, I had questions answered that I never had before. It was a custom advisor for me for my business, specifically for my business, which was fantastic. So whether it's nutrition or health, maybe recovery, maybe my daughters have gluten and dairy allergies, restaurants, descriptions of what things to cook with, other hobbies, golf, financial advisors. Some of these are already baked in there. When you go to GPTs, there's all these baked in ones. These baked in ones that people have already built, which are good, but it's so easy to create your own, and why would you use somebody else's, to be honest with you, if you could actually go ahead and create one that's custom designed with your brain mindset and the resources you want to follow. You may follow certain YouTube channels. Go ahead and upload them in here so that it can train off of that. If they're like-minded in your thinking, go ahead and do that. So in this case here, this is Westmark. They make trailers, their Department of Defense stuff for water trucks, all that cool things like that. They're on the West Coast. Wine tanker trailers, milk tankers, just all that stuff. Well, what we have for them is we have a name, a description, and this is the instructions. This is who they are. This is who they compete against. This is their brands. This is what makes them unique and special. This is what makes us different. These are all their products. And we put that in instructions, and then we upload documents, whether they're policy guidelines or in this case, product specs. They have over 3,000 SKUs, right? I'm training the bot. Training the bot. It sounds so complicated. Okay. All I did was give it some instructions and gave it some knowledge. And now, guess what? It's got the knowledge that I can go ahead and peg it with, whether that's dietary things or fitness or stock investing and all that stuff. I've trained it. This is creating a custom bot, you guys. If you haven't done it, I challenge you to do it. Okay? Pretty cool stuff. Let's see, which one is this? Okay. Some people say, well, why would I do that? Why would I create a custom bot when it's just one step away in here? There's a lot of reasons. Because since consistency of thinking, embedded expertise. Again, we bake that knowledge into the bot. It's got what we want it to have, whether it's guidelines for policies of corporate, say this, but don't say this. HR policies, right? Things that you want to avoid, improvements in customer service experience. You've hedged that in the way you want it to. Fewer errors, less drift. How many of you experienced hallucinations? Not like from drugs or whatever it is, but like hallucinations where the thing just gets it wrong. When I was looking up his profile, there was a hallucination even with a trained bot. It pulled in the last name, and it's a quote from a company they had interviewed and got a quote from. Pulled that in and thought it was him. So you have to go look at this stuff. But it can avoid some of that stuff, okay? Workflow acceleration. Guys, we are a team of 3 that operate with a team at least of 30. At least of 30, okay? One process alone, I do 15 times every single week. It takes me 1.5 hours to do each, 1 hour, let's just keep it nice and easy. 1 hour every single week for each of those clients. That's 15 hours a week that now shows up on my inbox at 4:30 a.m. And by the way, did a better job than I would have, okay? So what's that? I can actually focus on the client's business. It's actually created content and stuff that now is way better. It's done the analysis for me and made the recommendation. Now I can do my part and have Lexi write content for the client that resonates with the customer better. Make sense? Okay? It scales. Totally good. Reduces cognitive load. Guys, guys can hold like one thing in their head at one time. Women can handle more than that, right? But if you don't have to think about it, don't. Let it do the lifting for you mentally, okay? It can do a lot of that work for you. Built for teaching. Guys, how many of you know NotebookLM? Oh, fewer hands. Go look that one up, okay? So if you want to learn about anything, if you want to explore, like this is a passion for you, and you follow YouTube videos and read articles and subscribe to magazines and read blogs, please, for the love of God, use NotebookLM, okay? Because you give it those resources and you can hear a podcast from it where you can interrupt the person. Like HOA meetings or a whole bunch of things. Like you can go and ask it questions and it will respond back. It'll create blog posts. It was a theology class I was going through. I'm like, I want to remember everything. So what I did was uploaded the theology MP3 for the class, the previous. I didn't actually have the content for the actual presentation, but it had the recording of it. So I would listen to the podcast that was generated off that content from NotebookLM on the way to the next session. So I remembered it. It can create flashcards for you. It can create quizzes for you. It can create presentations for you, like automatically. So if you guys want to learn, it's definitely cool. It's a cool time to exist and live. Consistency and thinking. Yes, perfect. Embedded expert, we already covered that. We're good. Okay, so, by the way, gems are the same thing, right? So you can go ahead and that when you log into gemini.google.com, I would suggest you try Google, and I would suggest you try Claude. What I made before is go ahead and create your prompts in like Notepad or even an email. Just create it, and then you can copy and paste them in each one of them and see what the response is going to be. It's going to vary. It's kind of cool. You're aware of ChatGPT and maybe Gemini and maybe Claude. You're a Grok lover, which is cool. Perplexity. These are LLMs, large language models. That's what they call them. Some of you raised your hand with Zapier, Make, and N8N. These tools right here we haven't shifted to these tools. The reason why is because they do things that are crazy. Even if you give it a template and follow it, say, look, here's the output I want you to do based on this stuff. Do that. It still screws with things. Like we have a document, it needs to go to the CFO of the company, and it starts to create a dashboard. Great. I don't want a dashboard. It's not in the instructions. These things are really good and really smart. They'll often build in things that you don't want to. However, Zapier, Make, and N8N are basically workflow tools. If you think about a process that you have that takes 10 steps to execute, these tools right here can help you with that. And what I mean by that is that project I told you, it normally takes 1 hour a week, 15 times. It's an automation. It's 43 steps that it goes through and does it automatically for me and then emails. Okay? The reason why I like these tools is you can control the stuff a little bit better. You know what's going in and you know what's coming out. Okay? So really quick, what that kind of looks like is think workflow. You don't need to know how this works. One of the reasons why I like Make is it's kind of visual. How many of you are visual people? Okay, so a few visual people. I don't know code. I mean, I do a little bit, but I hate writing it. Python, I can kind of see it. I don't need to with this. So I have a workflow that I've documented. I go to this, I use these tools, this is how this works, this is how I look at it, this is what I do with it, this is what I want out of it. Go ahead and challenge your bot, your custom GPT or your Google Gem, to help you create the Make workflow. So go ahead and say, this is what you go in and say, we're using make.com. I want to go ahead and create this. These are the documents that normally come through. Now I want to go ahead and create that in automation. It will literally, and do this, tell me how to do it step by step. And it will literally tell you step by step, just with your own custom instructions, how to build that Make automation for yourself. It'll even write the Python code for you if there's code that needs to be there. I don't know how to do that, or maybe something doesn't make sense to you. Like, I need you to explain that further. And it'll go ahead and it'll tell you how to do it, which is really cool because it allows people that are not programmers, right? I'm marketing, I didn't do IT. One of my best friends, one of my sweet mates was in IT, but he's weird. I wouldn't want to talk to him on those kind of things. Yeah, Kent grad, by the way, just to let you know. Yeah. So, but this will allow you to accomplish things to automate that process. If it's a workflow and you can document that workflow, then you can create an automation. And I would challenge you guys, people first. I know, we talk about technology. This should allow you to touch and experience relationships with people in better and more inclusive ways than you've ever imagined, okay? Think about two things when creating an automation and workflow. And you touched on it, I think, before. There's certain things in your job that you think suck, you hate doing. Like, they're just, they're labor intensive. You want to gouge your eyes out. You'd much rather have a root canal done than do them, right? Those are things that are ripe for automation. And if those have steps, you can do this. Don't look at it, oh my gosh, Chris, I don't know like code or anything like that. This scares me so much. Like, don't worry about it. It's simply writing the stuff out and telling it what you want it to do. So yeah, I'm just going to encourage you there. Think about that workflow for things that suck, that drain your energy, that drain your time, that are not people-oriented, okay? The second thing is, what would you do, and this is actually really fun. So that's saving money and time, right? That's saving money and time. The second thing is, if you had all the resources in the world, finances, money, compliance, I would use the word compliance. Compliance is approval. What would you do? What would you do if you had all the resources available to you? If you had 1,000 people as your assistant, as a salesperson or HR specialist, go ahead and dream what that would look like. Like in terms of the process, what would you design that to be? Go ahead, challenge it. Challenge it. Pretend you have 1,000 assistants as a salesperson. What would you have them do? Now go ahead and create a workflow. What would that process look like? So you've got cost savings and energy savings, but here's the other side of it. This can be wildly effective at growing your business, you guys. Wildly effective. If nothing more, giving you time and giving you energy on things that are really fun, that you really want to do. Yeah, that's where I'm going to leave you with that in terms of encouragement. Let's see. I do have like kind of a commitment thing at the end here. So this is very personalized. With a simple conversation, your next step should be to be thinking about 2 or 3 things in terms of your work, in terms of what you could do in your own job or person. You could, it doesn't have to be business, it could be personal. In fact, that's actually sometimes way more fun because it's closer to our hearts. Think about things that you would want to be able to do or get answers for, and go ahead and try to implement them. Like, they don't have to be real complex use cases. They could be as simple as, how do I handle my email better? Like, I hate looking at all my emails. I get so many spam things. Yes, there's these filters, but how much better to be able to go ahead and curate that email and show me a priority list of those 2 or 3 things that are really needing my attention today, okay? News, you mentioned, I think it was you mentioning, was it sports? Sports is a big thing for you? Or was it sports? I forget. So even things like, instead of going to 10, 15 blogs, for example, right? What if you had a place to curate that stuff beyond setting up an RSS feed, right? Like, those are the kind of things. Or I wish I had a consultant for fitness. Like, my goal is this, I want to look like this is where I currently am, right? I need to get there. What's my plan? And then if I have to choose between the chicken or the beef, with what sides, you can just peg it. Went to Hawaii 2 weeks ago. My daughters are gluten-free and dairy-free. We use Google Gemini to plan stuff. I had a real travel planner walking along with me any single time. So as we're driving along, we're like, oh, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. We need to get food. Where do we go? Yes, we could go search on Google, which, by the way, Maps has gotten better, but it's still nowhere near what my trained bot is, because it knows my girls' diets, knows her preference. I can just peg it right now with a question, right? What's on the agenda for tomorrow? When's our flight leave? Do we have time to do X, Y, and Z? Right? You can do amazing things with this technology, guys. So I would challenge you, reach out. This is my text number. It was my text number. I walked away from it. It was my text number. Text me. Guys, we're all in this together. The reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want to see my friends and family and coworkers in the cities that I grew up in, or I love, or I work in, to get mowed over by this. You can either be leading it and getting out in front of it, or you can just hide your head in it. You're here, so that's a good start. But it starts with just little more steps. And wherever you're at today, what's that next goal for you? Like, what's that next thing that you can learn? And by just talking with me for a little bit, or somebody that it doesn't have to be me, but somebody who knows AI and is in this. I don't know everything about it, but I'm in it every single day. I seem to be a little bit more advanced than a lot of other people. Guys, get out in front of this. It's an amazing world. It can also be a scary world if you don't have any control over it, okay? So you can either lie on the tracks and wait for it to come, or you get on the railroad, have kind of that direction that you can take things. So thanks so much, you guys. Feel free to scan the QR tag, send me the information. Love to hear from you. Yeah, let's take a quick round of applause as well as all of our other panelists, Allison, Rachel, Dan, Pat. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Did we have any, I know it's been a long night, guys, and thanks for sticking with us. I think we have a couple of great nuggets to walk away with, and I mean, that whole grid thing and this custom chatbot thing is a lot more accessible than even I thought it was before this conversation. So do we have any questions from the audience? Anything that you guys want to ask Chris or any of the other panelists? Yeah, Henry?
So going back to your slide around the LLMs and the make.com workflows, are you suggesting to use the custom GPT to build the make.com workflow? Yeah. Whereas I have some clients who want to use Claude to replace them. And where's your confidence level of that using connectors? Is that one working? Okay, so the question was, you have clients that are using Claude right now. Claude is really good at creating workflows and stuff, and you're seeing more and more of that. One, be very cautious about giving access.
to, whether it's ChatGPT of just a whole bunch of different things. When they ask for that approval for the one-time password, like be very cautious of that. But your question was, okay, Claude's gonna do this work, make.com, can do. I'm strongly in the position that you use make.com for it. And the reason why is because one, you just control it a lot more. And you control the amount of information that's coming across. Claude is great, but it's still, you go ask these founders, how does it do what it does? How does it do what it does? They can't answer the question. They can't. And I'm not saying they can't actually answer the question, but they have a problem even perceiving how it's done. You're gonna have a baby. Okay, so in case you hadn't noticed, right? Which is awesome. You know what, we all learn by picking up things and playing with things and moving things around and putting them in our mouths and running them across the floor and dropping them. That's what an LLM does. Okay, so when you give Claude and stuff like that, it's trying to find its way. Whereas like the make.com or the N8N or the Zapier, you can kind of control how it's going through that funnel network for a process. That's the reason why I'm such a big believer in that, because I think the LLMs can go off the rails pretty easily. Okay.
Any other questions, guys? All right. Well, thank you so much for attending tonight. Let's give the panelists another round of applause. The bar is still open, and we'll still be hanging out for a little bit. If you guys want to stay and chat with each other, you're more than welcome to do so. So thank you.